Hello students, last class we learned Newton's first law of motion. We could define the force with the help of that law. Today we are going to discuss Newton's second law of motion. We got a definition for force. That force is a quantity, we need to measure that. So for measuring that force we need an equation. That equation we are going to derive from Newton's second law. Children, before going to that, you have to know a new term, that is momentum. Let us see what is momentum. Here you can see momentum, that is defined as the product of mass and velocity. Consider an object having mass m moving with velocity. We can write its momentum as m into v. We can use the letter P to represent momentum. So we can write an equation for this momentum. P is equal to m into v. From this equation we can write the SI unit of momentum, unit of mass kilogram, unit of velocity meter per second. So the SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. Then you know children, this velocity is a vector quantity, mass is a scalar quantity. The product of these two, that is momentum. Momentum is a vector quantity. That means it has both magnitude and direction. You know children, for all objects mass is there. The amount of matter in an object is its mass. If that object is moving, velocity also there. The impacts of motion of an object we can say by using this term momentum. Listen children, Newton's second law states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. You know children, from Newton's first law we learned, if there is no force, the object will continue the same state of rest or state of uniform motion. If there is an unbalanced force, there is an applied force there, what will happen? That will change the state. That time the object can move or the object will change the speed. So there we are connecting mass of the object and its velocity. That's why here you can see momentum. So Newton's second law states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. Newton's first law could define force. Then how to measure force? From Newton's second law, we can derive an equation for force. How to measure force? For that, you have to consider an object having mass m moving with initial velocity u. Okay, then you have to apply a force on this object. Then what will happen? Its velocity will be changed. Here we have to take t as the time taken, and here the object is uniformly accelerated. So we can consider that acceleration as a. Then how to derive an equation for force? You know children, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force. That only we got from Newton's second law. So here first we have to consider the momentum of this object. You know children, mass of the object is m moving with initial velocity u. So here we can write initial momentum of that object, that is p1 m into u. Like that, after time t, that acquires velocity v due to this applied force F. Then we can write final momentum P2 is equal to m into v. In our law, we have to find rate of change of momentum. The next step, we have to write change in momentum or change of momentum. That is P2 minus P1. Then you can write this as mv minus mu m into v minus u. Next, we have to write rate of change in momentum. Many times I told you children, if this term rate is there, how can we write? So here rate of change in momentum means change in momentum divided by time. You can see change in momentum is m into v minus u divided by t. Then according to Newton's second law states that rate of change in momentum is proportional to force. But for deriving the equation of force, we are going to take like this. The applied force F is proportional to rate of change in momentum. So we can write this as m into v minus u divided by t. Here you can see a proportionality sign. We have to remove that. We need equation. So we don't want this sign here. How to remove? For that we can use one constant. One letter we have to use here. We can take k here. K m into v minus u divided by t. What is this k? We can call this k as proportionality constant. Here we use this k to remove this proportionality sign. So here F is equal to k into m into v minus u divided by t. This k is proportionality constant. Clear children? Then, but you know this v minus u by t is acceleration. Then we can write this as F is equal to k into m into a. Then here you can see F is equal to k into m into a. If you are using this to do a problem, to solve a problem, how can we put value for this k? So here we have to find one value for this k. For doing that, we have to consider one unit of force is equal to the amount of force that applied on an object having mass 1 kilogram and producing acceleration 1 meter per second square. We have to consider like that. Then by that we can write 1 unit of force is equal to k into mass 1 kilogram into 1 meter per second square. Then from this we can write the magnitudes. This is also constant, no? So we can take that also. So here 1 is equal to k into 1 into 1. From this we can write k is equal to 1. Then we can substitute this value k is equal to 1 in F is equal to k ma. Then you will get F is equal to ma. So from Newton's second law, we got one equation for force, that is the product of mass and acceleration. Then what is the SI unit of this force? I told you, no, from equation we can write the unit of force. Here you can see mass, SI unit of mass kilogram, SI unit of acceleration meter per second square. So kilogram meter per second square is the unit of force. For this kilogram meter per second square, we can use this Newton also. Newton is the unit of force, that is equal to kilogram meter per second square. Here you can see capital letter N, that we can use for this Newton. Here 1 Newton is equal to 1 kilogram meter per second square. How to define 1 Newton of force? That is the amount of force that can produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object having mass 1 kilogram. From Newton's second law, we can write this equation F is equal to m into v minus u divided by t. You know v minus u by t is acceleration. But here we need this equation F is equal to m into v minus u by t. From this we can write F into t is equal to m into v minus u. Children, you have to imagine if there is no force. If you are considering no force is here, what will happen to this equation? That time you can write 0 into t, 0 is equal to m into v minus u. This you can write as m into v minus u equal to 0. This mass, no, mass means it will not be 0. It cannot be 0. So we can write mass is not equal to 0. That means this term should be 0. So v minus u equal to 0. From this we can write v is equal to u. From this we can conclude if there is no force, the object can move with constant speed. Then we can consider if this object is at rest, that time its initial velocity will be 0. u0 means v will also be 0. So what is this? This gives us Newton's first law. If there is no force, the object will continue the same state of rest or the state of motion, state of uniform motion, that will move with constant speed. Let us see some applications of Newton's second law of motion. This you also have experienced. To catch a fast moving cricket ball, the player pulls his hand backwards. What is the reason for that? You know from Newton's second law we have this equation F is equal to m into v minus u by t. For what this person is doing like this? For increasing this time. Now this time is in the denominator now. If the time is increasing, what will happen? The effect of force will be reduced. Other time what will happen? The velocity of the ball, fast moving ball, is suddenly stopped to 0. So if time is less there, the force will be more and his hands will get pain. So for avoiding that, the player has to pull his hand backwards. Due to that, he is increasing the time and the effects of force will be reduced. Like that in athletic events, high jump or long jump, there the athletes are made to fall on either a cushioned bed or a sand bed. Why they are doing like this? For avoiding the injuries. Then here by using this cushion bed or sand bed, they can increase the time. So our equation F is equal to m into v minus u by t. Here they can increase the time. So due to that they can reduce the effect of the force. So for avoiding that injuries, they have to use this cushion bed or sand bed. Here we are applying Newton's second law of motion. We are using seat belts in cars to prevent the injuries in case of accidents or suddenly brakes are applying there. That time we have to use the seat belt. Why we are using this means by using this we can increase the time. Okay, due to that the effect of the force can be reduced. If the time is increasing, the rate of change of momentum will be reduced. That means the effect of force will be reduced. So for avoiding all these injuries, you have to use the seat belts in cars. So everyday life we can find the examples for Newton's second law of motion. What is the application of that we can see there. Okay children, next class we will do some numericals based on Newton's second law of motion.